Welcome to Up Level, Real Health, Real Talk with Dr. Jenna Blasi. I'm Dr. Jenna. I spent years crafting ways to help women thrive, and I want to help you do the same. On this podcast, we dive deep into health at every level, focusing on the mind, the body, and the spirit. This is where real conversations meet transformational wellness. We'll be talking about all the things that truly matter, from nutrition and fitness to lifestyle, mindset, and personal development. Plus, the real deal on managing stress and navigating menopause. So if you're ready to elevate your health journey with authentic, transformative insights, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to Up Level with Dr. Jenna. I'm Dr. Jenna, and today I am going rogue. We are going to just talk about whatever is on my mind. I have a couple of ideas, and I was planning on talking about testosterone today and testosterone in women and how to utilize it. So that'll be soon, probably next time. But today I just want to talk about a few different things. And one is this idea that there's a one size fits all. Now, I think our diet, our nutrition, our lifestyle, there should be a simplicity to it. If it's overly complex, it's not going to be sustainable. But that simplicity doesn't mean that these blanket statements work for everyone. So what do I mean by that? For example, on my Facebook, I get a lot of different comments from people, and my team is really very, very kind to people and their comments, probably more so than I would be, meaning that a lot of people just like to get on there and say, well, just go gluten-free, or just do keto, or just, avoid seed oils, go gluten-free, don't do this, do that, you'll be fine. Or, oh, that's just menopause. Oh, that's just fibromyalgia. Oh, that's called blah, blah, blah. So whether it's from a diagnostic standpoint, right? Is there an overlap between menopausal symptoms, chronic fatigue symptoms, thyroid? Absolutely. I could list, inflammation, fatigue, weight loss resistance, brain fog, et cetera, et cetera. That could be chronic fatigue. That could be thyroid issues. That could be menopause. So let's not diagnose people online. I don't do it, and I'm a trained physician. And then there's the simplicity of the advice. Now, have I known people who've gone gluten-free and it has completely changed everything for them? 100%. Does that mean it's going to change everything for you? Not necessarily. And it may change a lot, but what if it changes just enough? Let's say you go gluten-free or dairy-free, or pick your, whatever the advice you're hearing, and you get better, and let's say you get 60% better. And so you just leave it at that. But you could be 100% better. Maybe if we looked under the hood and actually you were treated as an individual, found out why are you reacting to gluten in the first place? We can blame the gluten. We can blame the lectins, we can blame the oxalates and all of those things. And sometimes eliminating those absolutely will have a profound impact on your health. But then how come so many of my gluten intolerant patients can go to Europe and drink coffee and eat bread and be fine? So it's not, okay, so that particular example was maybe not the best one, because that's probably because the quality of our food is not good, right? The quality of the wheat that we have in this country is not what it was hundreds of years ago. But it's also, maybe you're more relaxed when you're on vacation. Maybe you're not completely stressing. Maybe you're sleeping better. So my only point, if there's one point in here, and I think there's a few, is don't get your medical advice online. I'm all for people that research. I know there's a lot of doctors out there that they don't want patients questioning. Don't question me and what I'm telling you to do. That's not me. I'm going to work with, if you're a member or somebody that I work with, you're a member of that team. What matters to you matters. What works for you matters to me. This is not a dictatorship, but when it comes to getting medical advice, you should just try this, you should just try that, I would encourage you to have pause because that either just won't work for you, or in the example I just gave, maybe it will work a little bit and then you'll stop up-leveling your health because that's sort of good enough. Which brings me to the next thing that I was thinking about for today is when is meh, when is, yeah, my life's good enough. When are we going to say no? I want more. I deserve more. The desire that you have in your heart, whatever dream you have in your heart, the desire you have in your heart for a better life, a better relationship, better health, whatever it is, I believe that those desires are planted by God, by spirit, by your higher guidance. Okay? Those are your subconscious, your deeper, higher self trying to communicate with you. But what we do is we stuff it down. And so most of us are, too many of us, maybe not most, too many of us are living out lives that are what other people want for us, what your parents wanted for you, what your community thought you should do. The list goes on and on. When are you going to live for you? And I don't mean selfish. I'm not talking about being selfish, because I actually think the most successful people are the most kind, the most generous, the most giving. They're able to be in a place where they can serve at such a high level. Because success without peace of mind, because if you're not giving, if you're not bettering yourself, then maybe you're in a state of lack, you're in a state of limitation, which could be greed, could be anxiety. Oh my gosh, I don't have enough. I have to hold on to everything. Well, that's not peace of mind, and that's not the way that I want to live. And so what is success for you? And when people say, like, and let's talk about money, because that was another thing that came up. And, I don't bring it up too much on this particular podcast because, this is about health. But when we're looking at real health, when we're looking at real talk, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you're living in a place where, what I hear often from people, I can't afford to buy organic food. I can't afford to take care of my health. I can't afford to leave this job or this relationship, which is toxic to me and bringing me down. That is a problem for your physical, your mental, your emotional, and your spiritual well-being. And so does money buy happiness? No. It buys convenience. It buys the ability to take care of yourself, right? There are plenty of people with money that don't have peace of mind, and plenty of people without money who have peace of mind, and vice versa on both of those scales. But when we have enough money, it doesn't have to take up all this space in our brain. So if you're just getting by, let's change that story. And how can you start to shift to attract and create? Because attraction is not passive. We have this idea of the law of attraction. It's this passive thing, right? I'm just going to sit on a stool and meditate and look at $1 million on my ceiling and it's going to magically fall from the sky. It's not how it works. The visualization is important. The belief and the expectation is important, but the action is also important. And I would add the intention. The intention behind the action is important, because if your intention is malice, if your intention is without a care for how you do it or anybody else in the world, it either will not get you where you want to go, or it will be temporary, or it will be at a cost, right? I said, recently there's a cost for everything. What we sow, so shall we reap, or the law of karma, or however way you want to look at the law of cause and effect. So now I'm going to go really rogue and say something that's just like fully from within me. All of the depression in the world, all of the anxiety, there's so much of that. And I think a large part of it is not living in integrity with how we want to live, not living in integrity with our dreams. If you are following your dreams, if you are following your passion, you are less likely to be depressed, etc. Now, I'm not saying there aren't physiological reasons, okay? I'm not saying that depression, let me be clear here before all the haters come out. I'm not saying depression and anxiety don't have physiological causes, that mental health issues don't run in families, that these aren't real physical things. But there is a blueprint in the mental emotional bodies. There's a blueprint in the mental emotional planes that ripples out to the physical body. And so we are not happy when we're not living our purpose, when we're not living in alignment with how we want to live, which is why if you're overweight and you're in pain and you're tired, then you're like on the couch more, and you don't even have the energy to do those things that might make you feel better. And then every time you reach for the chips or reach for the cake instead of something healthier, and every time you skip that workout because it feels easier to skip it, you're actually chipping away at your self-image, you're chipping away at your self-esteem, and you're chipping away at your happiness because you know what you want and you're not really going after it. Do you love to paint? Who cares what your neighbor thinks about your painting? Who cares if your upbringing said that you shouldn't paint, that's just silliness? When are you going to live for you? So these seem like very different thoughts, right? But they're not really, because when we get online and we see all these comments and we're affected by them, this is where some of the confusion comes in, right? This person says I should do this and this person says I should do that. And like, what do I do? Let's go back to our own intuition, right? I've talked about that a lot, like tapping into what you know and your knowingness. But also understanding that most of us in our subconscious mind are living out somebody else's paradigm. We're living out somebody else's belief system. All of the people that we were surrounded with growing up, the culture that we were raised in, all of those pieces, what is really your own? And when you take intentional action towards controlling your mind, when you take intentional action towards asking the questions, is this thought true? Is this thought true? Is it real? And is it what I want to believe? For example, if I say the world has so much darkness, is that true? Is that real? I mean, yeah, it is from one vantage point, but the law of polarity says what's true on one end is also true on the other. So the world is also love and light and kindness, and we can always find those amazing stories. So what do you want to believe? Do you want to believe the world is inherently a dark place and you can't trust anybody, and so you're just going to stay guarded and shut your heart down? Or do you want to believe that the world is a friendly place and that you can have love and you can have abundance and you can thrive? Now, I've heard people say to me, well, I have to be aware. I have to be aware. I have to know about the darkness. I have to go deep into the darkness. Really? Like, really? I mean, I'm aware of all of the terrible things that happen in this world. I'm aware of some of the terrible, things that have happened in my life. But do I focus on them? Is that where I want to spend my precious energy? I don't. And so when we're living for other people, it's going to be very hard to find happiness. I mean, even with our kids, my kids come first to an extent, right? I will do anything for the well-being of my kids. That said, I'm not going to sacrifice me in that. So I guess I wouldn't do anything because I can't be the right type of mom if I'm not my best self. Put our own oxygen mask on first, right? If I'm passing out because I'm burnt out, I'm miserable, I'm depressed, I am no help to my kids. I'm not a good mom. When I am living in integrity with myself and my passion and my purpose, I'm more patient, I'm more calm, I'm a better mom. And tying back in the money piece, we all can thrive. We all can change our finances. There were times in my life, my residency, granted it was a while ago, but my residency paid me $27,000. So when I did my residency in integrative medicine, I was living in New Haven. My salary was $27,000. And even at that time, that was not a lot of money. And I was spending a lot on gas because I was like traveling probably an hour by car roughly every day without traffic. And we lived in a third floor walk-up apartment. That was fun when I was pregnant, coming home with all my bags. And, I gained, as many of you know, 50 pounds with each of my babies. So I was, and I had to walk up 3 flights, which was actually 6 flights of stairs to get to the apartment. But I knew that I was investing in myself. I was investing in myself by doing a low-paying residency, investing in my education, investing in being a better doctor. I chose that residency because it was diverse. There were hospital rotations, there was research center rotations, there was naturopathic rotations. And so this idea, like, I can't afford to do this, I can't afford to do that. If we're always living in lack, we will draw more lack. When we speak about our debt incessantly, we are actually attracting more debt. Just like the example I love to give, like with kids, if you tell your kid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, that's going right into their subconscious. And they will grow up believing that. And if you tell them they're stupid 8 times out of 10, and twice you tell them they're smart, really, what are they going to grow up thinking? Are they going to remember the smart once or twice? No, it's the repetition. Habits are formed through repetition. Our paradigm is formed through repetition. We learn through repetition. So if you want to unlearn your training to focus on lack, to focus on limitations, then you have to do repetition of the opposite. If you want to undo all of the unhealthy food, you have to have repetition of adding more healthy food in. If you want to undo years of no exercise, you have to add repetition and consistency of exercise in. And so I do believe that having a better financial situation should be part of your goal, but not for the money. Money doesn't bring us happiness, but for the way that you can live. If my child gets sick, I want to have enough money to get them the best care. And so I will always focus on abundance and bringing more abundance, not just into my own life, but into the life of the people that I serve. So I have other episodes on manifesting and goal achieving and vision and all of that. But I was talking to somebody about this recently, and it kind of inspired me to remind us all that a higher frequency is all the goodness that we seek. It's health, it's love, it's peace of mind, it's financial abundance, it's just abundance in all of its forms, it's opulence in all of its forms. And even if your life is not feeling abundant, you can still focus on getting there and what it will be to get there, and be having that in your mind, and then taking actions to actually not only start to attract those experiences, but to raise your awareness that you'll see all of the opportunities for change and growth and up-leveling in front of you. So I know I'm in a lot of different directions today, hence the rogue part. Like, for example, I'm going to have a real polarizing topic here now. We're almost at a year that I've had this podcast. So this is when like a certain percentage of people will cancel me probably. There's so much talk out there about seed oils. Oh my gosh, seed oils. Just avoid the seed oils. The seed oils are terrible. And I belong to this group that the Confident Clinician that has been amazing for me over the last few years, and we go deep into the research, all of the research, not cherry-picked research, all of the research, and what is the research saying, and what is the context. And so, if you follow some of these people and actually look at the research, the quote unquote seed oils, that they're like the devil, is really not supported in the research. Now, are there some of you out there that may have reactions that cause inflammation? I think there's always outliers, but the research is been consistent that these are not the main issues. Now, does that mean that we don't want to cook with like the highest quality oils in our homes? What this means for me, I will tell you, is when I I prefer to make my own salad dressing. Half the time I don't even do that. I just add a little liquid Bragg's amino and some garlic powder and some pickled veggies and whatnot. But when I buy a store-bought salad dressing, they all have canola oil in them. I was like, oh my gosh, like all of these have canola oil in them. Like, what the heck? And I would tell people, don't have canola, it's rapeseed, nobody eats that. If you can't eat it, you shouldn't be using the oil. Like, I've said this for years. But, here's the big but. When I was presented with all of the research to the contrary of what I have always believed and always taught, it was really difficult for me to swallow. Like many of you with soy, you are just so bent on soy being the devil and soy is terrible. I could present you all the research showing the contrary, and you probably won't be able to see it, right? I think that's what cognitive dissonance is, where we're not able to see the truth, even when like presented. Well, I say the truth. I mean, some of those, our knowledge evolves. So, but this is going back, and canola oil. I listened to this one lecture once that did like 2 hours on just canola versus olive, and looking at the molecular structure. They're actually incredibly similar. It was shocking to me. Now, my own bias keeps me from buying canola oil. I will admit that. Like, I've been presented with the research that it is fine, and that in many of the studies, it even outperformed olive oil in its benefits. And I'm like, are you kidding me? How is that possible? Now, I know some of you are going to say research is biased and research is this and research is that. But when you do meta-analyses that pull from all areas, when you look at who funded it and you take those studies with a grain of salt and you look at them the right way, you still can find common themes. And if we're going to throw out all research, then we have to do it on the opposite. And that's the thing. There's always people saying, well, the seed oils are terrible. We know this from the research. Well, we can't like have our cake and eat it too. We can't say, I don't believe in any research and then use research to promote ideas that are not necessarily true. Okay. So cleaning up the food in this country is definitely an issue, but the food that we're focused on cleaning up is processed food. Processed food, whether it's got canola or olive oil in it, is still processed. It's still unhealthy. If we take out some dyes, is that great? Yes, I want all the food dyes out. But if you're still eating, but don't eat candy. I don't care. Like if they take dyes out of candy, I'm not going to start eating candy. So we have to put some of this in perspective. And so back to the canola piece, am I so believing of the research that I'm going to go out and buy canola oil? I am not, admittedly. I'm happy with my olive oil. I'm happy with my coconut oil. Although I use coconut oil less, I like olive oil. But what it means is when I buy a store-bought salad dressing and there's canola oil in it, I'm not freaking out anymore, which by the way is not healthy, right? When we overanalyze everything we put in our body and then we have all this anxiety, oh my gosh, I'm eating out and I just know they're using canola and I just know they're using this and that. And it's like, let's all breathe, because being in peace of mind is actually way better for our health. That's why I love that expression, yogis can digest rocks. The state of mind and peace of mind is really, really important. Now, you can't eat poison all day with peace of mind and not expect it to affect you, but there's that balance, right? I do eat out sometimes. When I eat out, it's not going to be organic, and they're going to cook in canola oil or vegetable oil. So where's that balance of just having peace of mind and blessing it and enjoying the meal? The seed oils is a hot topic, which is why I said it's going to be really polarizing. And people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm done with you. But are we willing to really look at the research? And also it's kind of like in relationships. Pick your battles, right? In any relationship, are you gonna like go after every single thing? No, we pick our battles, right? That's how you have the healthiest relationship. And that's probably a terrible expression, pick our battles. But, we choose, like, when is it worth bringing this up and having a discussion around it, and when is it not? And I would say the same with food. Let's eat primarily healthy food. But when we start breaking all the food down into like, oh, the oxalates are the devil and it's the seed oils and it's the this, like, let's eat unprocessed food for one. And yes, there are some people that are going to minimize oxalates and they're going to feel better. But then I would go back and go, okay, well, what's going on with the gut that it can't handle vegetables? Which, despite what everybody on Instagram is screaming, or not everybody, but too many people, again, research across the board, Mediterranean diet wins out. High vegetable, high fruit diet wins out. And so, people are, I saw something recently where someone was saying, fruit is making America fat. Most Americans are not eating the daily requirements of fruit, and that's not likely what's making them fat. If you're at a really high level of health and you've gone through menopause and you're not metabolizing, sugars as well, then maybe you modify a little bit. But again, the countries and the states with the least vegetable consumption, they have the highest levels of illness. The country and the states with the highest level of obesity and chronic disease have the lowest intakes of fruits, the lowest intakes of vegetables. So we keep wanting to blame these items rather than really looking at the bigger picture. And sometimes I think we can't see the forest for the trees. And I think the same is true, back to tying in money. What an odd podcast this is, going in lots of different directions. We want to blame money. Like my paradigm did, like, money is evil, people are greedy, the billionaires are the problem. And so then we get into this state of like, well, I'm just going to be poor. Like, let me just be poor because that's more spiritual. I mean, that was me for a while. I was like, oh, it's not spiritual to actually like want more money. But when we have more money, we can give more. When we have more money, we have more energy. We like, meaning that we can buy some conveniences so we can free up our energy to do more of what we love. And so, like, for example, when I was just a solopreneur, I had to do everything in my practice. That took a lot of energy. Then when I hired a first assistant and it was like, oh, okay, she can do this little bit for me. And it freed me up to be a better doctor, freed me up to serve more. So in all areas of our lives, wherever we can free up doing the things that drain us, right? You can pay somebody else to do them, freeing up your energy for the things you're passionate about, the things you really love to do and want to do. You will be serving the world. You will be serving your family in a better way. And the more we serve, the more we can be compensated for that. And I will tell you, when I first got into practice, I used to do a sliding scale because I never want money to be a reason that people don't do something. And what I found, by and large, with very, very few exceptions, and I've heard this from a lot of other people over the years, the people that I gave a sliding scale to, there were even some people that maybe didn't pay me at all, or they like traded. We traded for, vegetables from their garden. But mostly those people didn't get better because they didn't actually do what I was guiding them to do, and they weren't invested. I did not have money to go to naturopathic medical school. I invested and I took out loans, and it has brought me a return. I have since invested in other programs. I have since continued to invest in my personal development, in my education, in my team, etc., so that we can be the best versions. Because when you invest, like buying a house, there is a return on that investment. So when we say, I can't do this, don't even get can't out of your vocabulary. How about, I haven't done this yet. And if it's something you really want to do, then start going after it. It is just a matter of time. If I had and I did the first time, if I had let time and money, which is most people's excuses, keep me, I didn't want to, I was all set to go to naturopathic school, and I'd done all the prerequisites and all the things. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much money, it's so much time. And I freaked out, and I was like, I'm going to go travel the world, and I'm going to be so much more eclectic. And I'm going to take this little bit of money I have, and it's going to go so much further, doing all these things. And I did that, and it was amazing. And then I came back and I set up my practice, and I wasn't able to serve people the way I truly wanted to. They were on medications I didn't understand. They had diseases that I didn't know about. They had diseases I didn't understand. They were calling me doc, and I was not a doctor yet. And I thought, oh my gosh, I still want to do this. I still want to go to school so I can serve people better. And I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the hormone stuff that I do if I hadn't done that deep dive. Because as you know from, sometimes prescribing hormones, I'm glad that I can do that. That is often what is called for. And so I like to put the foundations in first before we do that, so we can really see what's gut and what's other issues, and that you can get the most, out of hormone therapy, for example. But my point is, then when I was ready to go, really ready to go, and I had to do a few more prerequisites because I had stopped, just shy of the goal. I took out loans. I adjusted my life. I made sacrifices. But remember, sacrifice for something higher is just letting go of something that doesn't serve me. And playing small and not being able to really serve people didn't serve me anymore. So I let go of that. And I still pay those student loans, but I don't think about them. It doesn't faze me anymore because I'm getting to help people on a much bigger level. And so then at that time in my life, the time and the money, it's never really about that. I didn't mind how much time it would take. It ended up taking 7 years because I did my prereqs and then naturopathy, and this doesn't even count college, and then naturopathy school, and then I did 2 years of residency. But I loved it. And I made those choices. I didn't have to do the residency. I made those choices. I got to do that. And so the time and money was not an issue because I knew it was going to get me to where I want to go. So stop limiting yourself. The only limitations are within your mind. If you don't have the money, but you want to go after something, then decide you're going after it. Decide you're going to get it. And then visualize it and start taking actions, and you will start to discover and take action towards the ways. And it's just a matter of time then before you get there. So if you're, continually getting your advice online to kind of tie this all back into a nice little bow, maybe before we finish, is that because you're not willing to invest and to work with someone to seek out the right partner in your health to really get you where you want to go and individualize the care? Or do you want to just keep throwing spaghetti at the wall and, Susie So-So says I should do this and Johnny, Jack of all trades says I should do this, so let me just try all these things. And most of the people I see, they have tried all the things and they've spent thousands and thousands on supplements and on this and on that, because they didn't center and say, okay, what is going to get me where I want to go? And then aside, tying back into the bigger picture, how do I want to live? How do I want to live? That's my story, my truth, my beliefs, not what I was raised with, not what my teachers said, not what my neighbors, my culture, my families. What do I want to be true? How do I want to live? And pursue that joy, pursue that happiness, and bring your light out into the world, living as your full self and giving all the other people permission to live as their full selves too. Because every one of us that's authentic, we're creating an authentic environment around ourselves. I have very low tolerance for BS. I just am not interested. And so I don't attract so much of that anymore, All right. Thank you all so much. So grateful. If you stayed with me through this whole I've Gone Rogue episode, I hope you found it incredibly helpful. And again, if you know someone that would benefit from this, share it with a friend. Please, if you enjoy our podcast, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and leave us a 5-star review if you love it. And if you're interested in exploring what it would look like to actually work with me, work with us personally, you can check out our website at uplevelholistichealth.com or reach out to the office. Thank you all so much. Have a beautiful day. And probably I will be talking about testosterone next time, but I'm not making promises in case I get an intuition to do something else. So see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uplevel, Real Health, Real Talk. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take the next step in your health journey, one that nourishes not just your body, but your mind and spirit as well. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's episode, please leave a review. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep thriving. And remember, true wellness is a journey, and you are on the right path.